Welcome to day number 4 of ESL One Katowice, a historic tournament taking place in Poland for the very first time as part of the ESL One series. If you remember all the way back to when this first began in 2013, though, we had 3 finals out here in Poland for EMS One, the prelude to ESL One. But it's the first time we've been back in Poland since. We're thrilled to be here, and it's part of the major series as well as we celebrate the 10th ever ESL One for Dota 2. And as we've got a few minutes before the start of this match in this first draft, I thought I'd throw a little question into the mix and give you the opportunity, the chance to be Gabe Newell.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Spend
right,
money.
let me add something to that, because that might be a bit weird, and you might be starting to think, whoa, I
Give
can make
me-
Dota 3?
Give
Awesome.
me your wallet.
or that. Imagine for a second that you are Gabe Newell, and you sat down and you think, yeah, I quite like this DPC, it's worked quite well, I've gone past TI8, what do I do for next year? What would you do? Would you have a majors only series? Would you have 10 rounds? Would you make it F1 style? Would you only have minor? How would you set it up? Anything goes. No money. Money's no object, Kevin.
Wait, do you want us to spend money? Are you telling
I'm
us
saying,
a blank
like,
check?
money's
or
not an
what
object
would I
here, so
change?
don't worry about money for now,
All
because
right,
Gabe's got deep pockets.
Get this. In a major, I would give DPC points to top 6 teams. Pretty crazy.
Top 6?
Maybe expensive,
okay.
but
All right.
yeah.
Yeah,
what
that's
I
very
do
expensive.
with
Why
the
top
blank
6?
check.
Why not top 8, for instance?
Well, I think depending on format, this format, for example, potentially there could be some seeding things or some like upsets that lead to X team getting knocked out right before top 4, and then they're gone, even though they get 6th, and they still get a crap load of money, but now they don't get points, and they really want points.
Is
It
this the
feels
liquid
like
secret thing
should
that's
just
brought
go,
that up for you?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily that exact. I mean, both those teams are going to be fine, but I'm thinking some of these teams that don't have many points or have almost no points, if they can get it to a 6th place, and then they're gone after that, like, give them some points. Like,
Okay.
that's a once in a tournament thing for some of these tier 2 teams.
All right, good stuff. Alan, what would you do with the series if you had the chance?
Okay, so Paul, you got to understand, I'm an economist. There is no such thing as money is no object. I can't do that, all right? But, all right, that said, I got 3 things, okay? Number 1, I agree with Purge's premise, okay? I think the first thing is it's got to be announced farther in advance, because there were a lot of these tournaments this year that were criticized for some of the oddities in the format where that actually happened because the events had been planned before the DPC was announced and some changes had to be made to the
But surely
structure.
that won't happen.
Exactly.
Afterwards.
That, I think, takes care of itself,
All right.
okay? The second thing is I absolutely agree with Purge that especially at the majors, you give points to the top 6 rather than the top 4, because I think, again, something that's been happening with the formats that because of logistics constraints, it's actually the later phases of the tournaments that end up being single elimination, and with this very, very steep point structure, it means that you're getting a lot of the points getting decided by single elimination in terms of allocation, okay? And, all right, I've been talking too long. I have a few more ideas. We'll save those for later.
All right, Fogged?
So you said anything goes.
Absolutely.
More
It's you're Gabe Newell now.
All right, I agree with Kevin's point.
You've grown
I
4
was going to
foot.
say either the top 6 or top 8 somehow distributing points better, but also more tournaments in North America.
Nice.
Force them.
God's sake.
I mean, we
have what,
we had
one?
we had Captain's Draft.
How many do we have total this year?
We had the Summit.
Captain's Summit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Captain's Draft is the only one with an audience.
That's
outside
like-
of a potential TI.
But come on,
2
you
out
can't count it just because it didn't have an audience. You can't not count it.
I'm counting it. That's fine. That's
Okay.
what, 2 or 3 out of
And
30
then
for
there's
something?
this little thing, usually July, August time, has a little bit of money. What's it called? The International. There's that one.
That's
all,
still not a lot, though, right?
Well, it's always been in America. That's
Well,
what
you
I'm
said
saying.
anything goes.
Yeah, I did say anything
Yeah.
goes. Yeah, you do have a choice.
It's all
Come on.
30
It's
in
your
America.
world now.
I would say at least 30 in America.
I mean, I'm
maybe
just
3 or 4 elsewhere.
At this point, Kevin, I'm just surprised he didn't say all majors are now in North America.
As far as the other thing, though,
Fogtape's traveling, I guess.
Did you asked it?
I did ask.
You
didn't
did
I?
ask the question.
I did ask.
I do think I would like to see more continuity between events. I'd like to see, for example, the winners of the minors get the spots at the next major. Something to differentiate minors and majors besides just the points.
All right. Okay. I have this really wild idea that you basically Valve announced 10 majors for next season. Forget minors for now. Don't know how you'd figure that out, but they announced 10 majors and they go, we want one in France, we want one in South Africa, we want one in Peru, we want one in Brazil, we want one in America, we want one in Canada, we want one in Britain, we want one in Sweden, we want one in Russia, we want one in China. give us your bids.
I like how he threw a Britain in there.
Give us your bids, right? I've got to throw one in there. Give me a break.
I'd like that. It's Fog's
It's
problem
F1
too.
style, right? Because then you go, right, just give us bids then. So ESL then go, well, we'll do the German one. And DreamHack go, well, we'll do the Sweden one. And Epicenter go, well, we'll do the Moscow one.
But
and
then
Perfect Well go, we'll do the China one. And so on and so forth. So that the people can bid on, well, we want to do the Brazilian one. We want to do the Peruvian one. We want to do one in South Africa.
I like that.
Global major tournament. That'd be amazing.
That's a better approach at mine.
I love this idea. I wish from the bottom of my heart that would happen. The one thing I'm concerned about is I don't know whether that is feasible under the current economic model where Valve is contributing only to the prize pool. I think for some of these smaller country tournaments that you might have to subsidize the TO directly. But Paul, I would love to see that happen.
Yeah, tournaments are really expensive, especially when you have to fly up to 16 sets of teams, do events, hotels, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that often gets forgotten by fans. You know, I'm using my Gabe Newell ideal world bottomless pit of money kind of example here, and that's why I'm exaggerating a little bit for effect. But fans do often forget that actually the organisers like ESL, like DreamHack and what have you, take care of all the players' needs. They fly them in, they look after them, they put them in great hotels, they do all the shuttling, all the food, they do everything for them. It's not just about the prize money, and it costs an awful lot of money to put on in a stadium as well. So there's lots of other factors in there. We just totally ignored in our, what would we do as Gabe?
No, I try not to bring this up because, you know, people don't want to talk about that on Reddit. But honestly, like Valve has put on some great tournaments, but Valve can afford to do these things because they can sell hats. These other TOs can't.
They can sell hats. Nice way to summarize it. Let's get into the draft for game number 1 between EG and Newbee. I hope you enjoyed that little sidetrack of information.
I think we had a good combined effort. I think
you
some
combined
points.
them all.
Mine was not so much. I liked yours way better than mine.
Okay.
This was much more.
This was well thought out, but you identified the problem. You were like the first crybaby on Reddit that starts a thread. And then Paul was the second thread. It's like, all right, that guy was a little emotional, but this is a better solution.
Fair.
And then Alan came in at the third with the proper economics around it as well and just spoiled all of our parties.
Yep. He was top
gents, let's get into this. Fog, we talked a little bit about Beastmaster.
Great first ban.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely needed. I think Sumail's best hero, and it exhibits everything that we were talking about as well. Early pressure, building, pushing, taking objectives, closing the game out early on. Great ban.
And this is now the 23rd straight professional draft of newbies where Naga has either been banned in the first phase or picked first overall. You got to go all the way back to Genting.
Newbee banned the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, that's been for I think Secret Misery has taken a page out of the Secret playbook because Secret had that long streak with Bounty Hunter that got interrupted at Genting when they used Ohio as a stand-in, and EG recently, I think they're 8-1 in their last 9 Bounty games.
Okay. So another hero that I was listing really highly. Okay, it gets taken out before I say it. But I was talking to Paul about it was
we did actually genuinely speak about
the
Coddle.
Coddle. I thought would actually just raise in priority for both teams. I know Newbee hasn't played it in like 3 months or so, but they used to pick it a lot. So I thought this one would be one of the more contested heroes in this.
But when I was going, I still want to bring something you keyed on because this is something that came up to me when I was looking at both of these teams' drafts. I think you got to really watch for the Wisp in this series. Maybe not in this game.
Maybe not this game.
Yep. Okay, classic Rubik counter pick to the Omni, and there you go. So Newbee, since January 1st, I believe it's, check my numbers here, 9-2 with Faith on Disruptor, 11-12 with him on any other hero.
And how many did they have with the Naga though?
I think 5 or 6 of those. Yeah.
Faith's still on fire with the Disruptor without the Naga.
Right.
They play so well around it. It's really about his map movements is the biggest thing for me. Sure, his like spellcasting is always on point, but when I was watching Genting, I was just, everybody's like, the Naga, the Naga, the Naga. I was sitting there, I was like, the Disruptor? Absolutely. And I actually got a chance to talk to Kuro, and he was 100% on board. He was like, this Disruptor ruined our game plans.
Yeah, it just disrupts so much of it. It is the Static Storm and the Glimpse when used properly can almost be a mini sleep. It's like it disrupts the team fight combo aspect, and it punishes disengages so hard.
It disrupts the team fights, and exactly that. It's a lot of the way teams are playing right now is because of like the HP region and the way like how long fights last is you poke, you run away. You poke, you run away. Disruptor, you start poking, you run away. You're not gonna get out of it.
Unless you got a BKB, so at the very least, if you're fighting a lot in early mid game, it can be really powerful.
Yes.
Newbee ends up banning Chen as well, so no early map pressure from EG, but either way, what EG opened with is just super safe and gives them potential lane matchup advantages. It's a carry that does everything. and just really safe openings for both teams.
Okay, can I ask you guys a hard question? I mean, I don't have a good answer to
We've
this
been asked
myself.
a lot of hard questions today.
So,
Been put under pressure here.
one of the things that we've seen happening a bunch of times now, at least 5 times on the games that we've seen on the mainstream, first phase gyro picks have been pretty heavily punished. Has there been any common denominator to that you guys have seen?
I saw Vici's Bane. That was the biggest one for
Yes.
me. They just picked, every single time Gyro's picked, they insta-picked Bane versus it, and they just ran at him with the Bane the whole early game. And then in the mid-game, even though the Gyro was sure under-farmed in a bunch of those games, he was just throwing Enfeeble on him, and Gyrocopter with Enfeeble does not do a whole lot with Flag.
Now so I like that you keyed on that hero too, because that's an interesting quandary now for Newbee. One of the things that sets Newbee apart is that their support pool is still relatively well differentiated between Kaka and Faith. There's not too much overlap. So if you pick the Bane here for Faith, which he's been amazing on, by the way, he would be in my MVP discussion right now, would Faith. If you pick the Bane for Faith, Kaka's got to go on the Disruptor, and that's
I don't
not
like
a
that.
signature hero
Yeah,
for him.
I wasn't thinking Bane for this one. I'm
Okay.
thinking more like Earth Spirit or something for Kaka this time around, because especially versus Rubik, like you'd think like Sanking, I think that's why they picked the Rubik in the first two. They limit a lot of Kaka's hero pool.
I agree. And there is
Gyro
the
DK.
Dragon Knight.
Newbie bans Bane themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just mentioned the BKBs. So versus Disruptor, they're picking 2 big BKB cores.
That's a really good point. Once they get BKBs, Disruptor is pretty much worthless, at least at the start of the fight, unless he's ganking.
And the Beastmasters are, so there's
They
your Kaka
pick-
hero.
They pick it into the Rubik.
Into the Rubik and into they have really no BKB breakers right now. They
Other
have a
than-
huge team fight combo and an Omni Knight.
They can do Blink Stun. That part's pretty good. And I
Okay.
feel like lane pressure-wise, Gyro is a little vulnerable to heavy burst and disables because he is such a fast hero. If you just stun him, then he's going to die anyways. So like Sanking plus Omni is a super dangerous gank against Gyro if he doesn't have support.
Yeah, I feel like though when I see these first 3 picks from Newbee that we've got to go back to that narrative from Genting that Newbie goes as Kaka goes. In the last patch last fall, Kaka Sand King was the winningest player hero combination. You look in their last 9 games with Kaka and Sand King, they're only 4 and 5. Other teams have looked at those replays, they're ready for it.
This looks like a dream Rubik game already.
I agree.
Sanking and Omni Knight, those are 2 of the best heroes to actually steal from in the game.
Yeah, just pick Weaver and then Rubik is just God.
Because if you have Purify, I feel like that's the part that I want from Omni almost always the most. Like almost nothing. It's like, oh, I can't cast Repel for 5 seconds. Eh. But Repel alone just turns everything. Turns Rubik into an offensive hero, really. So EG, I feel like, is pretty solidified with what they have. They can delay their mid matchup, grab their second support here, perhaps. I feel like they might go more disable since they already have a lot. Maybe it's a little dangerous against Omni. And they just go for lane win and
Rubik.
solo kill potential.
Old classic.
Yeah, and this is one of those things. We talked about predictability of drafting, and we talked about EG's ability to prepare. This is a very vintage Newbie draft. EG is going to have been ready for this, and I give them an early advantage here. Obviously, 3 picks to go.
So I really like A's, what he does with Rubik. Since Rubik is kind of low damage, A with Chilling Touch amplifies both their damage, and it's just how many right clicks you can get. And Telekinesis is perfect for that. It's exactly what the skill does. Gives you more right clicks. So
And-
against any offlane, they can kill him.
And mid-game team fights, they've got now double amplifications of magic damage.
Oh, that's a great
So they've
point.
got Ice Vortex, they've got the offensive null field if they want to be able to use that one, and Gyrocopter, as we know, he's majority magic damage early.
It's a really good point. Super
And
good
they've got
crafted.
and they've got this
Okay.
damage reduction between both the Rubik and the Dragon Knight too. So there's a lot of nice combination coming in. They go for
Yeah,
the
this is the
Ursa.
Mugi Ursa, the god tier hero that closed it out for them at Genting. Whenever you watch Mugi on the Ursa, watch for the BKB reveal. He can win the game with his 10 and 9 second BKB charges. Now, this is the other sort of BKB. The other thing that breaks BKB is just burst physical, right?
Exactly
You
what
get
I was
in
gonna
there on the
mention.
Gyrocopter and the DK and just burst them down.
So, like Kevin was saying, is one of the beautiful things about Sanking is you can do that instant blink burrow strike, and the composition with that with Ursa is, sure, Gyro might have a BKB, but if they both go at the same time, you just get bursted before you even get it off, and that's what Ursa provides you.
I think Dragon Knight will be okay because he just has high armor. It takes quite a bit longer for Ursa to kill him, but Gyro's got to be really scared about this. But either way, I love the synergy that EG has with all the magic damage and the spell amp. I think it could be good, and they have enough stuns that they can definitely chain stun Ursa if they find an initiate on him, assuming Omni's not there to back him up. And then if Ursa gets Ags, it's also another good solution against the heavy lockdown that EG has. So I think this Ursa can work out really nice. It's a solid pick.
After yesterday, especially too, like seeing that Ursa, I was like, wow. I think I'm liking Ursa again right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
What, he went 15-0 in that game after he was versus a Coddle Beastmaster lane?
15-0 and 12. And
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
The oh no, it was better. It was like
It was better than that.
22,
He had 17 kills overall, and I think 22 assists.
Yes, because it was
that's absurd.
But still no deaths.
35 kills participated in without a death was third most all time for Ursa. And what was really cool about that was the aphotic shield interaction with the Ursa ult.
Fun stat for you. Evil Geniuses haven't played Newbee using a DK since Mason played for them.
God.
Shall I throw that one in?
It's kind of a random one.
You know that Mason
Mason.
5-man squad with EG actually has one of the highest win percentages
Yes,
of all time.
I do,
They
yes.
do.
Yeah, it's always one of those fun facts. Yeah, they last played Newbee using a DK at TI4.
All right.
It's been a while
Triple
since
C
DK was ultra.
terror played. Oh my, well, again, it's all right, guys, how do we deal with this BKB? Because our 3-5 positions are very spell reliant, very combo reliant. You pick two heroes with burst physical, and you make up for the fact that Ursa has problems hitting towers with the best tower hitter in the game right now.
I feel like if EG just sets really early tempo though and moves around a lot with like Blink Daggers on or Shadowblade on Dragonet, that they can kill TB and Ursa fine. If they just do 2 stuns into a kill, I mean, as long as Omni's not there, it's definitely doable, or Sanking to interrupt the chain. But TB is definitely a great pick.
Pugna.
That's what I was thinking too, especially with their spell lamp. And versus Omni Knight, they want to be able to have that mixed, because now they've got physical into later stages once they scale, but I think they want to have someone that can just take buildings and group up too.
Yeah, it fits the spell damage that you need to take the Terror Blade down, and it fits the tempo at which EG want to play in this game. I think it's a great pick here.
I think the only downside is that Pugna would leave them with 3 heroes that are extremely vulnerable to physical damage, and Decrep can't solve all those problems.
Sure.
Does make Ursa's life a little bit miserable though, because you have to go for like Nullifier at one point in the game.
I suppose.
It takes a long time.
Or you can just Decrep him all game. It's maybe
Okay,
easier.
the Enigma is the other hero I was thinking about, and the logic here is that other than that burst physical, they have no way to stop the BKB black hole.
Unless
now
they get
Dominator
yes.
with net is always a way to break it.
And it's also been looked at one as the heroes that's very good versus Omni Knight.
Oh yeah.
People were talking about that one a lot at Genting. All the players were like, yeah, the Enigma last pick versus Omni actually, sure, the lane might not go so well. Omni's going to win the lane, but the mid game and the later stages, Enigma is a big winner. That changes the way I was thinking this now too.
It actually, I'm having to reevaluate. I really am.
Yeah. Alan, which way are you going to go?
I am going to go with Evil Geniuses.
Okay. Kevin?
I think EG's draft is cooler. I'm not sure if it's better, but I'll go with EG.
Okay.
The Enigma kind of throws a little bit of wrench to what I was thinking, but I'm still going to go with Newbee. I really like the way that they play around with the Ursa.
Okay, very interesting. A little bit of a split decision here on the panel. Let's introduce you to our commentary team for game number 1 and game number 2 and game number 3 potentially if we get it. I'm sure you lads are up for a 3 game at the start of the day.
Absolutely. I mean, between these two teams, especially if they're picking heroes like Enigma, it's a caster's
I know,
dream.
right? You just get to black. Oh, is that how you do it, isn't it?
That's why they put 2 play-by-play, so we can both scream at the same time when Black Hole goes down.
We'll be screaming with Toby in the green room at the same time just to give it more effect.
Sounds good.
Enjoy.
I'm sure the viewers will at home as well, Paul, as this one should be a fun one. EG versus Newbee, everyone wants to watch to see if EG can really stand up to the hype that their fans have put behind them, and that they're sort of the names that the players do deserve. This is the real test. Going up against Newbee, loser goes home, winner moves on. Are they going to be able to do it, Cap?
Actually, the 2 series today are so absurd. The fact that we have such strong teams faced already an elimination match for ESL One Katowice, and some of them will not be going to that playoffs. It just kind of blows my mind because I just did not expect that. Certainly not from Newbee, who did so well in Genting, and certainly not for Secret and Liquid, who are also in that position. Looking at this lineup, I did really like the Enigma last pick. We saw this probably a month and a half ago. Teams were just starting to experiment with Enigma as the counter pick to the Omni Knight. It feels pretty good. And with Newbee's lineup looking at a lot of teamfight potential, you may have actually just kind of beat them out in that regard. I feel like Enigma is oftentimes one of the trump cards when it comes to the teamfight. You get the BKB, you get the Blink Dagger. Sometimes there's just not a lineup that can really beat it.
Do you like sort of the idea behind Newbee's draft though as well? The fact that you've got sort of this farming late game core in the Terror Blade, but that can also sort of be relevant at most parts, but that you do also have him paired up with the SCC Ursa, this hero that's going to be looking to consistently make plays across the map.
It really is that concept of we're going to have our lineup just be able to fight at all times of the game. I don't think they really want to be able to be in a position where they're going 45, 50 minutes just because of their Ursa. I think they want to be able to dominate the game a little bit sooner than that, especially with the Enigma pickup from Evil Geniuses, as well as Ancient Apparition. We actually have really high impact supports coming out from EG, like with the disable of the black hole, the disable coming out from the ice blast as well. Really powerful late game. So I think Newbee need to be able to take this laning phase by storm, get that Ursa snowballing.
Oh, and look at this, talking about the Ursa, look what he's up against the lane. EG, they're going to put the Enigma in the mid lane. So what is this to get this matchup, or is this a certain dodge of a certain lane? Why are we having the Enigma mid from EG?
The Enigma, it's just going to be able to deny a bit from the Ursa, but I think more importantly, they want to be able to put pressure on this Terrorblade. There's a difference between many of the... we casted the aggro tri lane against Terrorblade, and we talked about, hey, this guy's got really high armor. It's hard to pressure him when it comes to harassment, but look at this lane. A lot of magic damage coming out of the Gyrocopter. You're going to have Ancient Apparition giving you Chilling Touch, so that's a lot of magic damage coming out from all your right clicks as well. So I think this lane can actually put a lot of pressure on this bottom lane.
And you can see already amendments being made here by Newbee, as they will send down towards bottom the Omni Knight. So already sort of making those lane switch ups, as indeed it looks to be the case, as you say. They realize that this bottom lane, the pressure is going to be very high. Already the Ursa making his way up to the top lane, and Terrorblade now moving to the mid lane. So Newbee, they've made their changes.
Yep, they need that Ursa matchup against the Dragon Knight, because the Sand King, despite Caustic Finale, is not actually good enough to be able to win that matchup, nor is the Omni Knight. Dragon Knight's just natural sustain is a bit too strong. So the Ursa is kind of like the only hero in this entire lineup of Newbee that can match him 1v1 and actually beat him out.
I'll be interested to see if we see EG move again, because I imagine still having the tri-lane down here against an Omni Knight, isn't that a bit of a wasted tri-lane? It's a very hard hero to make plays on, isn't it, after there's a couple of levels on KP?
Yeah, it also means whenever you're running aggro tri-lanes, you're always limiting yourself in experience, especially if you can't get the hard camp pull.
I'm going to make a bit of an attempt here onto Faith, but obviously the purification was there from KP, and in fact, KP turning around, giving a bit of a punch into misery as the Thunderstrike brings that AA down relatively low. Quick barrage from RTZ to force KP back up in this bottom lane, but as we can see, this duo from Newbee is going to feel very strong against the aggressive of EG, and already we can see movements coming. Crit, he's making his way towards that mid lane, because mid lane, the jump ins from Kaka with the Burrow Strike and the Metamorphosis damage. Mugi bringing Sumail down low. The telekinesis from Crit comes down as he looks to turn, drags Mugi underneath the tower. They've got the Eidolons beating in. Kaka will fall. They're going to get Mugi as well, potentially. Crit with that rotation coming in just in time to help out Sumail and help them absolutely turn that mid lane around.
The early use of the Fate Bolt was really nice because it didn't bounce and hit the Terrorblade, just lessening his attack damage onto the Enigma as well. Really nice rotation there from Crit, reading that quite well. All thanks to that mid ward that they have right next to the tower.
Yeah, fantastic time for Crit to head into lane. And sure, Sumail does still have to make his way back to base, but Crit won't mind that. He'll stick around in the lane, get himself a bit of XP on the Rubik, and Sumail, of course, now TPing back into the lane.
Yeah, there is no shame in letting your supports have some solo experience, especially a high-impact hero like the Rubik. He does have a lot to be able to steal in this game. Mostly, he's here to counter the Omni Knight and the Sand King.
And already Crit is making his way up towards that top lane. Does actually pick up these 3.5 minutes arcanes thanks to those kills that he got involved in mid, so we'll be able to, as you say, keep the activity very high and continue to spam those spells. As now he'll look to stand by Fear and make sure that he can keep Fear farming strong, which so far has been pretty good. As you can see, the 3 cores of EG, they're having great times in terms of CS, and a couple of the cores of Newbee just that little further behind, including Mugi's Terrorblade and KP's Omni Knight. Just a bit of a difference between them.
Yeah, I think one of the beautiful things about EG's laning phase setup here is that they only really have to rotate their supports around depending on what configuration Newbee give them. So here, like the Rubik isn't needed at bottom lane against the Omni Knight. As you said, it's a bit of a waste to try and lane into him. So he's going to try and help out the Dragon Knight a little bit more. And they've given this DK solo experience for so long, he's actually quite tanky.
Bottom lane, they'll try for another bit of a rundown onto KP. They are doing a good job of closing the gap. In fact, KP with Purification still on cooldown. He's going to fall. They make the move. They get the kill. Same time up top, Crit and Fear holding down SCCC. They've got the Brief Fire, the final touch from Fear as they punish SCCC, who tried to go in aggressive onto Fear. There was 6 stacks up on Fear, and the Bear felt that he could get away with it, but SCCC gets punished. 4 kills for EG. They they are looking like they're doing a brilliant job of handling these lanes.
Absolutely. At the same time, you had Kaka sitting mid. He's like really wanting to get this gank on Sumail, but he's sitting on top of a ward. So he like has this pressure on him, whereas like both sides are going badly. I have to go mid, but Sumail is reading it like a book. So he just plays on the right-hand side and continues to get really good CS. He's 20 and 11 right now.
As we can see there, so in the majority of encounters in the past, Newbee have managed to take the series. The Manila Masters being the only exception of recent history favoring EG. So far, these early 5 minutes at least, looking pretty strong for the American side.
I think that's a little bit expected, though. I think all three of these cores don't have, like, they're all going to come online at 15, 20 minutes really strong, especially that Ursa with his blink, and eventually we're going to talk about the BKB. He doesn't really need an early BKB is the best part because he has Omni Knight on his team, so you get a blink repelled Ursa on top of you at 15 minutes. There's not a whole lot of counter moves you can make at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. The kill potential from Newbee is going to be very strong when they get that initial kit together in top lane. Kaka closing the gap with the burrow strike. They've got the kinetic field down as well as they look to control, surround SCCC. Quick stun from Fear, holds back the bear momentarily, but SCCC will continue to move forward. Get those stacks up as secondary burrow strike comes in, holding Fear down in place. SCCC really wants the kill. He's getting low, doesn't need to commit. In fact, pays with his life because of the committal, so they do get the kill onto Fear, but it costs them the life of SCCC. Kaka will give them a bit of a runaway as Misery and Crit do temporarily try and have a look for him, but Kaka does manage to create the distance and get out of there. So Newbee getting a kill, but it's costing them one of their own lives.
Yeah, it was a serious commitment from them as well. So it really doesn't offset this laning phase whatsoever. In fact, Fear's going to get his level 6, and he's going to reach this huge power spike where they're going to try and probably go for a kill on somebody, and then he's going to turn that into a push on a tower. We'll see if he stays in his lane or goes somewhere else.
It's Kaka. Drag back here, Fear, not heading across for the time being as SCCC is there to back up the Sand King. Go for the kinetic field, won't quite catch anybody. And you can really see Newbee with those two supports up top trying to put that pressure in onto Fear, but this is giving all the space in the world for Sumail in the mid lane, who absolutely continues to free harm. High on the last hits and high on the denies as well. As Mugi a little more scared of that mid lane.
Oh no, those phase boots. They just barely got him out of range of the ranged Dragon Tail from the Dragonite, so that is going to be a bit of a wasted ultimate. They're still going to get chip damage on that offlane tower, but it wasn't the kill they were hoping for.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Sumail being looked towards back again in that mid lane, but as we've seen, it's very hard for Newbee to get on top of this Enigma. He's playing it very safe, keeping himself underneath the tower. Sumail top lane, the pressure coming in from EG as well with that Elder Dragon form, trying to do as much as they can to this tier 1 with the first usage of it. And so far, so good. Bringing it down very low as SCCC and Kaka struggle to keep the pressure off.
Little pokes here and there. I think the difficult thing is going to be for Newbee is looking at this lineup. The EG can play grouped up quite a bit, and they're not going to give that opportunity for easy Ursa pickoffs. He's much better in small skirmishes than anything else.
Kaka actually moving around with SCCC. They're trying to get this Ursa already involved in some kills, but it's all revealed. SCCC won't be able to close the gap onto Crit, and we'll just have to turn to farming now in that mid lane.
Yeah, Crit's having a great impact as a roaming Rubik, and it's leaving Misery in lane oftentimes, and he's able to do certain things like share experience and get pulls.
Look at this down bottom. Sumail, he's coming with the rotation. They're just going to commit with the black hole. Goes straight in, sees an opportunity for a kill, and no holding back. Setting up for Arteezy to find himself involved in some action.
Honestly, every single time you have black hole up on the early game, I think you should go for just a simple kill like that. You're never going to get these big team fight black holes. Oftentimes, you should just go for an easy pickoff.
Absolutely. This is sort of the pace of the game that EG are happy with, and they know that it's unlikely that Newbee anytime soon will be trying to commit. As at the moment, it's just Newbee having to try and deal with the pressure that EG's really keeping on. Now heading down onto that bottom tier 1 as well. KP moving in. Let's get the repel out, of course, before the homing missile connects, but even at this stage, the physical damage doing quite a bit. Top lane, bit of a go being made by the Kaka tanking. Goes in with a burrow strike. He may just tick down, though. He does. He dies for this. They've brought SCCC and Mugi in, so they should be able to at least find the trade onto Fear, as they will take down the Dragon Knight. Able to at least bite back into the lineup of EG somehow, but it does take those 2 cores making the rotation. And bottom lane, KP, and to put those 1 charges, being chased all the way back by RTZ.
The interesting part for me is I think EG can still defend that top lane push that's coming out from Mugi with that Yusen Metamorphosis. So he may have gotten a kill, but he's not going to be able to get a tower, and that is a little bit dissatisfying for Newbee. I guess they got a bit of a stack, though. They can clear through. Small hard camp stack gives them a little bit of extra value. Helmet Dominator's going to come up soon for Sumail. Between that and his Eidolons, he's going to have great split pushing presence all over the map. The 2 split pushers in this game being kind of the Terrorblade Illusions and the Enigma. I think for oftentimes Newbee is going to want to be able to split up EG, but I think this pickup from Sumail is going to limit that quite a bit.
Kaka does pick up an Invis rune, but EG were well aware of it, was pinged out when he did grab it. At the moment he'll just keep his eyes on Sumail and likely to be able to make a play, of course, as himself as this level 4 Sand King against that level 9 Enigma, as you say, with a helm. Lots of regen on Sumail, rather tanky for this stage of the game as this Enigma now.
Oh. Dragon Tail into the Ice Blast.
Let's get the Enrage off, so helping a little bit with that damage reduction, and a good burrow strike actually allows SCCC to look to turn it around. He looks to go on to crit. Is it quite enough damage? They will get the 1-for-1 trade. The Static Storm bringing Fear down low. Fear backing up behind the tower. KP looking for the dive, but the reaction's coming from the rest of EG. The Malefice holding faith in place as the Eidolons bring him down. The Fear Dragon Knight Fire finally finishes the kill, so EG again will be able to make sure that these fights that Newbee keep going for just do not pay off for Newbee. EG getting the trade in their favor each and every time.
And this is perfect. You see what Misery's doing is he's sitting in this lane that is very likely to be the one that's dove and pressured, and he's kind of the sacrificial lamb, but he's also getting solo experience at the same time. So he gets his early level 6. He's probably going to die from a rotation eventually in a tower push, but that's okay. He's creating space for his team in a way.
Mid lane fortification will come out for Newbee. Mass TP's coming in as well. They've got 4 heroes looking to fight here. They really want to do something about Sumail on that Enigma, but the Midnight Pulse, the Eidolons, is just going to kill Faith straight in front of him. They do get the trade. Newbee will be able to find Sumail. Ice Blast coming in. Will connect onto KP. Won't be quite enough damage to bring him down.
Every single time he's using the Satyr Purge on one of these supports and just throwing the Eidolons at them. It's actually a pretty devastating combo, considering the fact the lack of armor on most of these supports. The Eidolons dish out a good amount of physical damage.
Faith got absolutely destroyed, but I guess that's the thing as well. I mean, in terms of AoE damage, it's not really amazing. You're sort of relying on the Sand King or a Purification being used to try and clear off those Eidolons. Other than that, there's going to be a high chance that Sumail can keep those units up on you, and there's very little you can do to get them off you.
Newbee, they have... What do they have here? Well, they don't have the Blink Dagger yet on either one of their initiators, but they are going to go for the smoke.
Or maybe for Roche. They do have this Ursa, of course.
Sneaky Roche. This is dangerous against an Ancient Apparition.
Ooh, will EG be aware of this? I mean, you're playing against an Ursa. You know that this player is always going to come out at some sort of a point.
Yeah, at some point in time, EG, this wraparound, this deep wrap, they're going to see no heroes and be like, okay.
They should head towards the pit.
Yeah.
Let's see if they do that. Misery's thinking about it. Is he going to go towards that pit? Roshan, it's a half health. Looks like SCCC. I think he's going to get away with it. Sumail is now moving over.
Oh, they realize
They've got
now?
the Ice Blast. It passes over. They've seen it. Sumail, he's heading in with the Midnight Pulse. They're in trouble, Newbee. Static Storm comes out straight away onto this Enigma. But already SCCC's fallen. The Roshan's so low, so EG, they walk in, they take it. Sumail takes the Aegis. It was always going to be a risky play, Cap, but that's the price you pay when you take those sort of risks, as EG get another huge step up in this game where they're already massively with the advantage.
Yeah, they did not have a whole lot of map control when they went for that smoke gank. Bottom lane was pushing in. They still have that tier 1 tower at top lane. I think that was like way too risky. There was no way EG was going to get caught completely off guard.
This is some serious momentum for EG. 11 for 4, 14 minutes in, 6k lead against Newbee. We saw this sort of dominance from EG yesterday, but to come in today and do it in this opening of this game 1 against Newbee really is quite something. This team, they just seem to have sorted out a lot of the issues that were apparent in the past. They are looking incredibly clean right now.
I love the fact that Sumail's going straight for the BKB. There is no interrupt on the side of Newbee. At least when it comes to abilities, they can always pick up a Helmet Dominator and grab one of those troll creeps and go for the net play, but Otherwise, the BKB should just be a clean black hole every single time. And it's Newbee who have to oftentimes play into Evil Geniuses, so you don't really need to counter Blink most of the time if you're Enigma.
Absolutely not. As we've seen, there's definitely going to be potential for him to walk in and a hole. And 14 minutes, another tier 2 taken by Evil Geniuses. Shadowblade finished for Fear, so they have that sort of initiation on the back of the Dragon Knight, and Mechanism now done for Samael as he just wants to keep this push going as they're going straight in. It's 15 minutes. They're committing onto tier 3s here, EG. What's the answer going to be for Newbee?
I mean, they know there's no Blink Dagger on the Sand King and Ursa yet, so...
And they've actually just called out KP. Telekinesis into the Dragon Tail stun. That's the Omni Knight gone. He's down for 30 seconds. That's one of the cause of Newbee out of it. KP just having to watch this from the sidelines. As EG, at 15 minutes in, they're threatening the barracks. And it looks like they're going to take it. I think Newbee, they don't know what they could do to stop this. I think they realize they really can't. They just have to let this go.
Nice
jumps
catch.
in, grabs the Sand King. There's going to be a full set of racks going down 15 minutes. This pace of Dota that EG is playing is something that I haven't seen from them in a while. This is just next level stuff from Evil Geniuses. This is what the fans at home were hoping to see from this all-star lineup, and they're getting it today.
I don't think I've ever seen a team really try and punish the Terrorblade's early timings and his long cooldown and Metamorphosis like they just did. But I think it was just a combination of factors. The fact that the laning phase went so well. They knew the Blink Dagger, the very key items for Newbee, were not up on the Sand King and Ursa, and Metamorphosis is down. Well, you've got nothing left in the tank at that point.
So then Mugi will find Arteezy. He's got the slow from the reflection. Arteezy will get glimpsed back, so will pay with his life. Newbee able to take down the Gyrocopter. Get themselves something to try and help in the attempt to slow down this pace that EG's playing at.
Oh, they're setting up on SCC right now.
Ice Blast comes through. Fear leads in with the stun from the Shadowblade. This man in a lot of trouble. He has got the enrage to help limit some of the damage, but the Malefice holding him down and in place. SCCC will fall. This is getting massively out of hand for Newbee, and surely when there's a Rax down against you, playing as an Ursa, this game is so hard for the Ursa now.
Yeah, it's pretty much Mugi's game is over, and now, or excuse me, SEC's game is entirely over, and it's all up to Mugi to carry this game as the Terrorblade. It's still one of the best carries in the game, so there is still a possibility that Newbee can make that really long comeback, but it's... usually you're just giving him no quarter whatsoever.
At 17 minutes in, Samael, he's got full Greaves on this Enigma. I know we had a stat yesterday about Samael's Beastmaster being one of the most farmed. This has got to be sort of, in terms of the Greaves timing at least, I very rarely see a Greaves this early on being completed by an Enigma. So the push is so strong. The amount of sustain that EG have is incredible. The auras from the Greaves and the Helm of the Dominator just keeping EG in full fighting shape. And you've got the passive regen as well from Fear, of course, from his passive. They'll try and jump in Kaka. Does go for the epicenter straight away. But look at this. The Black Hole comes out from Samael. Will be cancelled here. The homing missile out to SCCC, though. No one is dying on EG. This is the problem. Newbee commit with the Static Storm in the epicenter, and the sustain is too much from Evil Geniuses. They just stand their ground. They don't care that the Black Hole gets cancelled because they just push on, take another melee racks. A buyback will come out from KP. But this is absolutely brutal for Newbee. And Fear, he's looking about going back in with the Shadowblade.
I thought they would go back and protect their tier 3, but apparently not.
What do you do here if you're Newbee?
They really are going to lose their tier 3s if they don't go back.
They've got the glimpse, but they've stolen Repel. There, crit
Nice
with the
pick
casual
up.
save onto Fear, making sure he's not in trouble. Arteezy has got his own BKB, so now EG, they just rinse and repeat. They're going to head up to the top lane. They're going to push that one round in about a couple of minutes of time. We're going to see Newbee on the verge of maybe losing another melee Rax.
Crazy. This game...
I don't think, as you know, even the most sort of avid EG fan this morning would not have expected EG to play like this against Newbee in this game one. This is...
Yeah, their wet dreams was not this graphic.
This is...
The Blink Dagger's finally up for the Ursa, but you have Guardian Greaves on the Enigma. You have, like, BKB up on the Gyrocopter, so he is just going to be able to kite you around most of the time. The Dragon Knight is on full tank mode, and he's going to have a BKB pretty soon as well. And the supports, both of them are just going to sit super far back, so unless you do some sort of smoke wraparound, you're not going to get that easy first kill, and that's what Ursa needs. He's one of those heroes that needs to be able to jump in and get the numbers advantage for your team.
I mean, look at Crit as well. Just, there's so many things to highlight about this lineup, but this is 19 minutes in, and Crit's Ruby, he's got a Blink, a Yours, and Arcanes. He's 5-1 and 5. I mean, This game is really quite something for Evil Geniuses so far.
And all they need is just one more team fight to close it out. Newbee are going to stand their ground. They're not even going to wait for a tier 2 push. They're going to try and meet them.
Let's see what they can do outside of the base. They're leading straight away onto Fear. The Ice Blast will fly across. Arteezy moving in with the BKB on the sidelines. They're cutting up at CCC with the Malefice. They've already taken down the Sand King. They'll find the Ursa as well. That's 2 down on Newbee. Newbee just can't put a dent into this lineup of VG. Honestly, this Helmet the Dominator and Grease Aura combination from Sumail is just so much sustained. Reach ending up the lineup. They're just constantly at full health. On the side, Fear's managed to find KP. Mugi's trying to turn with the Metamorphosis, but the Malefice hold down. GG is called. 20 minutes of pain for Newbee finally comes to an end. EG, honestly, I want to know what these kids have had for breakfast. That was absolutely incredible. No one in the world could have expected that. This game 1 was just over like this. EG. And look, there is another day in the office for these guys. They know that it's only game 1 of the best of 3. Anything can happen as the series goes on. But this game 1, that was quite something, Cat, for
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a bit of a draft win there for Evil Geniuses, combined with the fact that their very smart laning phase decisions also gave them a huge lead. And then the Roshan was just kind of the nail in the coffin. Newbee can definitely reset. There's a couple things. First of all, Dragonite is incredibly good right now. He's been winning so many games and picking up the Ursa. Like you saw, he had like 21 armor. And that's before the Guardian Greaves armor kicks in. So if they ever run into the Dragonite, it's going to take forever to kill him, to bring him down, because they've got just so much physical damage focus between Terrorblade and Ursa. Like, they have no magic damage to actually throw into any of these heroes. So I think the draft was definitely there for EG, and resulting just a couple of big plays.
Yeah.
EG close it out super fast.
Absolutely. That 20-minute stomp from Evil Geniuses, ladies and gentlemen, as they will take game 1 against Newbee.
Excellent performance from EG. You could almost rephrase them as easy after that game. What a great opening start to day number 4 for Evil Geniuses. They take that opening game against the favourites Newbee. Let's find out what our panel members made of that. I think there was one prediction that got it right.
Nope, they both went EG.
Did they both go EG?
They both went EG.
Oh, yeah.
I'm old and my memory's
Boy,
fading.
did we.
It's a good job I have you next to me. So 2 for EG, 1 for Newbee.
I mean, Purge and on a panel, we always agree.
Right.
Is that true?
I
I think that might not be true, but whatever. You went for Newbee.
I did.
Yeah. Based on the draft.
I was concerned about where the Enigma would get laned,
Yeah.
and they did this mid-Enigma thing that I've seen them actually do in the qualifiers like a couple weeks ago, and Sumail crushed that as well in that game too. But this one was, I think the lanes coming out from EG were absolutely perfect. They won all 3 lanes, and Crit was a beast. He was everywhere he needed to be. From the mid TPs, he gets like that early kill, and then he claims the mid lane. And it's like, oh, meta was just used by TB. You see that Newbee was like moving their lanes around, and they couldn't abuse the early power of the Ursa.
I mean, it seemed like, Kevin, they lost everything in that game. Like, even when they went for that Roche was it looked okay to start with, and then suddenly they got caught out. They did like 90% of the Roche, and they just gave it away.
Yeah, he got bashed when he used his ultimate as well, which might have accelerated him enough to get the Roshan, because he was realistically about 2 or 3 hits left.
Yeah.
Like, that was actually so close. He almost got it before he died. So maybe if he doesn't get bashed when he uses Enrage, for example, this slightly greedy Roche doesn't work out. But either way, there was a lot of things leading up to that moment. All those early engagements, that Roche, and all of a sudden EG's like, oh, we can actually just push with this. They weren't planning for this game to be this fast, but because everything went their way early, all these small little ganks, it became this quick game.
And look at the clock right there. This is the fastest racks of the tournament by over a full 4 minutes. The next fastest was EG at 19:45 in a win against Enigma, against Infamous. And you can see right here, Enigma hits 10K net worth before the 20-minute mark. That is only the 6th time on record that has ever happened in a pro match. You cannot go in against this EG team with a predictable draft. Newbee picked their first 3 heroes, what they've been doing for 6-8 months now. EG was completely ready for it.
Yeah, and we did mention that, Fog, didn't we, before the game?
Yeah.
The styles.
The speed.
Are they going to stick to it? Are EG going to go for that fast-paced aggression? And they did, and every opportunity that they took in that, they actually took. It wasn't like sometimes you see them they're aggressive, and then they kind of go, whoa, hold on, let's back away and be a bit more less aggressive. This time they were like, no, confident, aggressive. They took that bottom ranks, and then they pushed in on the mid as well.
Yeah, they went.
We almost got a GG there.
They went for game-ending items.
Yeah.
You saw the Enigma. He's like, all right, they have no damage. I can just go this mech build. We have so much HP regen on our heroes that we can just survive all the damage that they deal and just keep the push going.
And the BKBs was the other thing we pointed out during the
Yeah.
draft against Disruptor. Once you pop BKB, he's useless against OmniNet. I mean, they had so many stuns that Omni always had to be careful. He got caught once, Kaka gets caught. I mean, Newbee just clearly didn't expect to be in that position from that game. And honestly, I don't think they should get too demoralized from this. I feel like this game was won by EG in the first, like, 8 to 10 plays, which may sound like a lot, but there's plays that happen constantly. Every single kill that went their way went heavily their way, just barely, and that leads to this kind of a stomp win when they have that kind of lineup.
Yeah. The boys on the casting desk were talking about, was it a draft win or not? How would you see that?
I would say if the game went even, I would still say EG had a slight draft win, but when they win by that much, it's like a huge overpowering draft win because they have Enigma who can push, and he built a Helm of the Dominator, and they had a Dragon Knight who's great at pushing, and they had these BKB heroes that are like peak performance right there. It was perfect for their advantage.
It's really rare you see all 3 lanes win. And that's legit what just happened there. They won all 3 lanes. Crit had a perfect game as well. Misery's just like this AA that he's just like, meh, okay, I'm kind of just farming. And we saw a cool interaction actually. The Chilling Touch actually slows through Repel. Did not know that. So you saw like Omni Knight's repelled, but he's still getting slowed down. They could chase him all the way to the tower. I thought that was a really neat thing that I didn't actually know about that interaction.
Do you know what fascinates me about this game? Is that you never stop learning. Doesn't matter how many games you've played, how long you've watched, played at the top end, and still you're learning new stuff. It's incredible, isn't it?
That's a new change.
Yeah, but you're still
was
learning as it goes on. It's not something that happened yesterday.
No,
it's something that's happened before.
ago.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
relatively
just
new.
continually
That's a new skill.
learning. So cool. Yeah, very good. Thank you very much, gents. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have Game 2's draft upon us and a chance for Newbee and to gain some revenge. They've got to get back in gear, otherwise evil geniuses are going to run away with this and go all the way to the quarterfinals. We'll see you very soon.
Timing at least. I very rarely see a Grease this early on being completed by an Enigma, so the push is so strong. The amount of sustain that EG have is incredible. The auras from the Greaves and the Helm of the Dominator just keeping EG in full fighting shape. And you've got the passive regen as well from Fear, of course, from his passive. They'll try and jump in Kaka. Just go for the epicenter straight away. But look at this. The Black Hole comes out from Samael. Will be cancelled here. The homing missile out to SCCC, though. No one is dying on EG. This is the problem. Newbee commit with the Static Storm and the epicenter, and the sustain is too much from Evil Geniuses.